Good day, folks. Everything new under the sun. I'm not going to say a lot new today. I think you know what's happening, and I think everybody kind of understands, at least who is paying attention, understands that as it relates to end time Bible prophecy, something is up. We seem to be close to some major event. And as I've stated before, I think we get to the brink of World War III, if not even start World War III, and we're in the middle of it, in the middle of economic collapse and chaos that comes as part of World War. When World War starts, it either causes economic collapse or it's caused by economic collapse, or the soon coming economic collapse. When all else fails, they take you to war and to distract you from civil issues, issues in your country, economic troubles, or troubles with the government. What's the easiest thing to do? Well, it's to distract you with an external war, make an external boogeyman that they can point everybody at and say, look, it's their fault, that this is happening. Let's go to war with them. Let's all come together. And this is a common thing for governments, I think, psychologically, to when countries are divided, when civilians and voters are divided, bring them together with a single issue that's going to kind of consolidate everybody, get them on the same page. That's exactly what's happened in Israel with the Hamas terror attacks. For right or wrong, that terrorist attack consolidated, it brought together all the citizens of Israel, where once they were complaining about the judicial reforms that Netanyahu was bringing in, now they're all on the same page. Now they have the same enemy. They have a similar goal in mind. They're all working together as one. It's called a war cabinet, a war government, where they get all on the same page, and that's what they have in Israel. They have unity government because of war, and so that is whether it is planned or not, governments, political figures, obviously are going to use that to their advantage to bring the country together to get something done. Same thing happened with the pandemic. You had the one single big boogeyman of the pandemic, and the governments used it to consolidate power and to do what they thought they needed to do at the time, to bring health and safety to the citizens, whatever it may be. Meanwhile, they got a lot of power as well, but that's a different subject. But I think the Antichrist is only going to come out when the world is desperate and calling for a savior. And the world often calls for a savior, and often what they do is they don't want Jesus Christ. They don't want to recognize God as savior. They want a man. They want to find a leader who's going to, or a king who's going to win the battles for them and give them all the money that they want and bring good fortune to them, etc., and keep them safe. And so they will call upon a world leader. They will be desperate for a world leader, and that's going to be when the Antichrist comes out and says, look, I'll do everything for you. I'll save you from all this trouble. I'll improve the economy. I'll feed you. I will, bring the nations together and bring peace to the world. But you're going to have to give me your sovereignty first. You're going to have to vow allegiance to the world government and to the Antichrist, figure me, he's going to say. And that's what the countries are going to do. They're going to be so desperate. They're going to be in such disarray, civilly and otherwise, that they give up their national sovereignties. And so as we get close to this World War III, and I think everybody recognizes this indeed is shaping up to be World War III at this point. The battle in Iraq, that was not World War III. The various other wars, they were not. But when you get to the Middle East, even Ukraine, Russia, that's not World War III. But you get over into Israel, Iran, and the Middle East, I think everybody kind of understands, yep, that's where the big battle is going to take place. And with that, this is Yahoo News. Russia says it rehearsed massive nuclear strike. They're getting ready. They're locking down. The U.S. is doing drills as well. Lots of aircrafts flying in the U.S., all practicing for what could be, again, World War III. And it's going to be massive destruction. It's not going to be total annihilation, but the countries involved are going to be basically torn down, brought down to nothing, are going to collapse economically, societally, and the countries involved, specifically the U.S., I think, and the Western countries, will not be big players in end-time Bible prophecy. And of course, you don't see their names. What you do see is Russia, for example, seem to have seemingly spoken of by the names of Gog Magog, and there's arguments about that. Nations from the north, could it be Turkey? Maybe, but you have these significant names in the Bible which seem to refer to these countries and not referring to, like, Canada, United States, Australia. So interesting. Are we on the precipice of World War III, folks? I think we are. I think you need to get ready. World War II. I'll go back to World War One. World War One came. People, didn't think it would ever happen, and all of a sudden, sons were going to battle. World War II came. No one knew exactly when that was going to start, but it started. And they only kind of label it the world wars after the fact, and then you kind of after the fact, after the war's done, you kind of go back and look at it and say, okay, this was a starting point. But this is where we're at. We're at the beginning of this World War III. In 10 years' time, if this kicks off, they're going to look back and say, okay, this was a starting point, maybe when Russia invaded Ukraine. But we won't know that. It's going to be a slow creep into World War III. Our sons and daughters now, our sons and daughters and, non-binary, gender non-specific folks are going to be sent off to war in today's woke culture. And that's when we'll realize, we are at war. Pretty interesting. So going to the Middle East here, the United States is surrounding Iran, and Russia has agreements with Iran, Syria, Turkey. They all have agreements to back each other up. So when U.S. starts surrounding Iran, look out, because Russia is on tap, ready for Iran to call them into the battle. This is War News 247. One mistake or provocation is enough. U.S. has surrounded Iran with colossal military forces. So aircraft carriers, 2 in the Mediterranean, another one, down around the Red Sea there, and the Gulf of Oman. And so they're surrounding Iran with firepower, and this could be where it goes. And Iran is going to have to go nuclear if this is the case. I don't think Iran. I'm pretty sure Iran cannot battle the United States with conventional forces. So kind of similar to Russia, who can't battle the U.S. directly with conventional forces. They will have to go nuclear, and that's their nuclear doctrine. At some point, they will have to use those because that's the only way they have a chance of defeating the United States. Iran's Supreme Military Command has ordered the army to be on general alert and to begin large-scale exercises. Here it is here, large-scale exercises. The U.S. continues to encircle Iran by deploying colossal forces in the Mediterranean, Red Sea, Gulf of Oman. Iran is preparing a generalized conflagration in the regions, something which Putin warned yesterday, saying the conflict can expand outside the Middle East. You know that Russia's going to try and distract the U.S. in Ukraine, for example, doing other things there to kind of make multiple fronts for the U.S. to have to deal with and manage, or the U.S. is going to have to give up Ukraine and focus on Iran, for example. So all the countries involved, China, don't worry, they will come into the battle when they feel ready, when this thing lights off. But red alerts in all branches of Iran's forces. In response to the increase in number of U.S. troops, military equipment, IRGC missile units and drone bases on the coast of the Persian Gulf and in the Sea of Oman have been put on heightened combat readiness. This keeps increasing. I can't say it any better than that. And there's a lot of people saying it now. This is increasing. And when does it blow up? This is the big question. So incredible stuff happening. I don't have much more to say than that, to be honest. It's incredible to see this happen. But again, I think we head into basically World War III. And I think the United States at some point is taken out of the picture. They don't have, they're taken out to such an extent they don't have the willpower or they don't have the money to go to war in the Middle East to support Israel during the Battle of Gog Magog. And that suggests that, again, economic collapse has happened. They've been removed from their position as world superpower. They do not have the world reserve currency. There's probably been some bombs dropped, et cetera. And the countries, the Western countries, are effectively decimated to where they're just surviving. They don't have the ability to extend and project power anywhere. They're just surviving at that point, and they're not able to, go against China, Russia, Turkey, these Middle East nations at the point of, the Isaiah 17 destruction of Damascus prophecy, and specifically Ezekiel 38 and 39, the war of Gog and Magog. Which again is a dual fulfillment prophecy, near term and at the end of the millennial reign of Christ. And maybe that's why it's the war of Gog and Magog is mentioned in chapter 38, and it's mentioned almost repeated in chapter 39. So that's interesting. And again, more evidence that there's a dual fulfillment related to that. So, folks, I'll leave there. I hope you're prepared. You need to get prepared with things on the ground, with hard assets, with food, maybe with some precious metals, whatever it may be, some way to protect it yourself, some way to, take down some deer for food, whatever you have in your location, if you know what I mean. And you need friends and neighbors and a community around you, like-minded, to survive this period, but it's going to be hard. Ultimately, we don't escape from this world with anything except our faith. So that's why you need faith in Jesus Christ. And if you're getting scared, that probably means you don't have faith in Jesus Christ, and you're not relying on him to get you through. And at some point, we won't. Everything could be taken away. All the preps could be removed. And then what are you going to do? At that point, you would have to have 100% faith on Jesus to provide for you, and he promised he would. So I'll leave there, guys. Thanks for watching. Be prepared. Things are heating up. It's incredible. Spend this time getting ready, getting prepared, getting your house in order, and getting friends and family ready for what is coming. We'll see you in the next video.